Hey, what's going on, guys? Donkey here, and welcome to the live stream of my review on the beta for the Division 2. Spent, at the time of this video, 8 hours and 48 minutes or so into the game. Actually, probably a little bit more. I've completed both of the both of the main missions in the game, and then a handful of side quests. And we currently have access to the Dark Zone, and it's kind of where I'm heading. We'll look at that in this vid and see how the Dark Zone in the Division 2 compares to the one in the Division 1. I know that based on some of the footage I've seen, there is a vast difference in how it definitely appears. And I have not done the last thing that was added this weekend, which was the level 30 in-game mission, which I believe you get a patch if you complete that. So that's something that I might tackle as well. So the whole purpose of this vid is for people to get an idea of what they're getting into when they purchase this game. I've liked the game, but I also feel like there are a lot of areas for improvement. At this stage for a beta, in my opinion, there are far too many bugs, just far too many. Just for all intents and purposes, I didn't include a webcam on this just due to the simple fact that there has been a syncing issue between webcam and audio, so I didn't want to include that. So I figured also you guys don't have to look at my ugly mug while I'm doing this, and you guys can focus more on the whole screen of the game. So weather transition, or the day and night cycle in the game, I thought was really well done. I thought that you can definitely tell as I'm standing here, just the transition of that. You can see the clouds in the background moving. The sound effects in the game I felt were very well done, except for some of the audio issues. I've encountered a lot of audio issues, a lot of where the gun sounds, they don't sound right, they sound off, they sound light or weak. A lot of grenades that you throw the grenade, they explode, but you don't hear it. And that's happened even as of this morning when I was playing, and it's happened on numerous occasions. Or you'll have a grenade launcher, someone firing off a grenade launcher and it being shot at you, and then of course it doesn't. You feel the impact, obviously, because you can see the damage on screen, but you don't hear it. So there's a lot of audio issues in the game that I've experienced. I've also read in forums and from other people their comments that they've had audio issues as well. Hopefully those get worked out, because the game is enjoyable, but again, I felt that there's just a lot going on here in the way of bugs that just really shouldn't stage. And obviously, as we're playing the beta, we're here to help them, I would hope, help them eliminate some of these things. So generally when I do like a review, I don't do live reviews, but I figured what the hell, this time I'll do one. I'll go through, I'll talk about certain things in the game. With the beta, you get, here's the whole size of the map. You can actually see how big this thing is. There's 3 dark zone areas. You only have access to one, and you do not immediately get that right off. You actually have to unlock that, and you unlock that by, in this, progressing through the game and doing the main missions. I unlocked it after doing the Federal Triangle mission. You can see there are these other areas you do not have access to. These, there's this area over here, the island. You do not have access to any of that yet. So basically it's just going to be this large section of the map, which is pretty large. I mean, again, I've spent almost 9 hours into the game at this point, and a lot of the time I've spent has been up in this area and over in your initial starting area. I haven't spent a whole lot down here. The only thing I've done is the main mission. The problem with the beta, from my understanding, is none of this carries over. What's going on, Twixler? How's it going? I'm just doing a quick, or I say quick, a little bit of a review of my experience with the Division 2, the private beta. And, I think for the most part, people know what they're getting into with the game, because it's very similar to the Division 1. Obviously, there have been seasonal changes from going from a New York weathered, snowy atmosphere, real dark and gloomy, to very vibrant atmosphere. That's not to say it's not eerie. There's a lot of eeriness to it. Graphically, I feel like the game does look good. There have been some control issues, there have been some audio issues, a lot of audio issues. And of course, the groundbreaking things for me, aside from just the floating paint cans and the twitching chairs, which I've posted on Twitter as well, those things can be worked out. But the big groundbreaking bugs have been the ones to where you're in the middle of a mission and the game just disconnects. And it's not disconnecting because you have an issue with your internet, it's disconnecting because there is an issue with their server. And if I remember correctly, this was an issue with the division, the first division. There were a lot of server issues, a lot of connection issues with multiplayer. What's my Twitter name? I believe it's the Swamp Donkey, if I am correct, and it's THA. But I can double check for you. You would think that I would know that. But predicated on whatever platform I'm on, yeah, you can look up the Swamp Donkey or the actual Twitter. The @ is THA Swamp Donkey. So if you want to look it up there, I've posted a few quick videos there. Also, they should be on the VODs here as well on Twitch. So let's see. Yeah, I guess going back to what I was saying with the issues with the missions ending abrupt because of server issues, that's one of the bigger ones. They definitely need to fix that. Or just there have been areas to where missions, side missions, you're supposed to access a door and get through from point A to point B, and you can't do that for whatever reason. It doesn't unlock. You're in the middle of the mission, you've completed it, maybe it was a really hard mission to do, and then now you can't get any further because the game has a bug and will not let you, and you have to restart. There are obviously other bugs in games. One of my friends on Twitter mentioned that they were stuck in a van or something for 5 minutes or before they could even get out. Matter of fact, let me go back and I can actually reread that so I don't misquote what was said. Lands by Tossin. That's another gentleman you might want. He's been playing the beta as well. He's over on Twitter. You might check out. He does some streams as well. Let's see here. What does he say? He says he just ran into one. And that was this morning. These live reviews, it's kind of cool to be able to do these. Yeah, he was caught inside a van for 5 minutes before he managed to get unstuck. So another bug. Yeah, I think it's those little, I say little, those things, those bugs that you encounter that really can deter a person from playing a game. But for me, the groundbreaking ones are the ones where you're in a mission and they just don't progress. I can get past all of the little BS bugs. Overall, it's a question of, is the game fun? The game is fun. I mean, the world does have an empty feel to it, but I feel like that was maybe the direction that the developers were going with. There is the same type of looting system, if you will, to where you run around the city. You pick stuff up, you hand it off. Now, I don't see as many civilians. That's the one thing that I've noticed in the sense of, in the division, as you were progressing through the game, you would have civilians walking around. They'd walk up to you and they needed, food or something, and then you would hand that off to them. So, I don't see that as much.
Hey, LG.
This is an emergency.
Dark Zone East was evacuated.
What I'm going to try to do,
since
I haven't done it, is I'm going to try to progress over
to
the Dark Zone
to try to contain the spill.
And there are just random, as you can tell, I'm probably going to die here. Yeah.
Agent deceased.
There are random areas in the game to where you have enemies positioned out just like it was in the Division, and they will kill you just like that. Trying to run away in this game can be quite tough because getting shot from behind, obviously, you're gonna die. So this will probably be more of a lengthy type of video just
Safe
due to the
area
fact that I
detected.
want to showcase off, some of the game. But mainly I wanted just to talk about the pros and cons of what I experienced. I really feel like Ubisoft, they're headed in the right direction with the Division, but there's a lot of improvements overall that need to be made in order to just better the game. A lot of the bugs need to be fixed. A lot of the audio issues need to be fixed.
I'll rip your throat out! You can't win!
I've had issues to where enemies don't even know that you're there. That was just very, very strange. I never felt like I had that in the Division. That they'll look directly at you as you spawn into an area or as they spawn into an area. The other thing that I commented on, I wish they would have added more. Wish they would have added more voices to it. I do like, see, like right there, you couldn't even hear it explode. And that's what I'm talking about. Just overall, what the hell? Seem to be struggling in this area for some reason, which is very strange because level-wise, I'm okay for this area, which is, I don't know, very weird. Let me go back and respawn back. So I think that, just with the Division, it's going to be one of those to where people are going to feel this familiarity with the game. It's going to seem very familiar. There are going to be some subtle differences to it, aside from just a locale. But if they don't get some of these bugs fixed, it will turn people off. If they don't get the server issues fixed, it will turn people off. Do I feel the game is worth 60? I don't know. That's hard to say, to be quite honest. I mean, because you're dropping $60 on this. If it comes out in the state that it's in right now, a month from now, if it comes out just like this, no, I don't feel that it is. And that's my honest opinion. I feel like there are too many little issues in this beta, and some not so little, that need to be addressed and need to be fixed. And that's unfortunate, because I do like the game, and maybe I shouldn't go down that street. How about we go one over? Because I really don't feel like having to fight my way all the way through this. But you have the same situation with loadouts in the game, armor. You have matching armor. You have abilities that you can enhance. Each armor has a different set, or you can just make a mix, match, a hodgepodge of different types of armor. You have your different types of weapons. It's going to be very similar. It's either I mean, I'm hearing like some sound issues here. You just not. Wow.
Agent deceased.
Yeah, agent is definitely deceased. That's crazy. Okay, maybe they don't want me going to the... Okay, we're going to spawn over on this side. I don't know. I was spawning down here. Let's spawn over here. Fuck this. Let's go over on this side. We'll go at this a different route. But it's one of those to where initially, yeah, I enjoyed a lot of my time with it, and I still enjoy what I've played. I just find that, again, there needs to be a lot of work done to fix some of the issues in the game to make it a smoother transition. I mean, certainly I don't want to be in the game because it's an online game, playing the game, be in the middle of a mission and have it disconnect and lose that progress. That would be very unfortunate. And that is an issue I feel tends to happen.
Hey, driver. Check the pilot cleared the place out when they left. Then why is it locked up. Same reason people locked their houses when they knew they probably weren't ever coming back.
I do like
I'm getting
the
in there if I have
different.
to help and pop the goddamn doors out.
Good
You know,
lord.
help and fuck off.
Safe area detected.
I do like the different areas, just like the Division 1. You have different areas. Those areas, the settlements, they're different, and they put a lot of detail on that to make them look different, which is nice. All right, so we're gonna try to go
This is an
about this a
emergency.
different way.
Dark Zone East was evacuated after an explosion scattered DC-62 in a large
Maybe I'm
radius
just under
around
level
Capitol
for this
Station.
area because it does say
They
7 to
eventually walled the
11,
entire area to try to contain the
and
spill.
I'm at level 6 or so, which is surprising because I did the mission for that area. But again, I don't mind the emptiness aspect of it. I think that that's probably the direction they were looking at when they did the game. I think there's a lot of fun to be had. I mean, but again, it's one of those games. You know, there are bullet sponges. I don't know where I saw something that said no more bullet sponges, and I'm like, what are they talking about? A lot of the areas are very dark and not very well lit, and I don't know if that's just maybe a setting. See right there, you can't even hear the gunfire. She cut in and out. She spawned forward real quick. I should have ducked there. It's pretty obvious. I'm gonna have to fight to get over there.
What did you do? Come on! Run! Grenade!
So in some areas, in these very, very poorly lit
Agent
areas,
vital signs,
Jesus Christ,
0.
died again. In these very poorly lit areas, it makes it hard to see them other than the little glowing armband or whatever it is that they have that's on them. So, yeah, I could lighten up my screen or change the in-game settings to make it a little bit more visible. But then again, I also went by the settings to set the game up that they give you when you first boot the game up. And you go through the generalized settings to adjust the contrast and all that shit, the gamma.
Safe area entered.
This one's for the kids. You've got a video game hub up and running. Hopefully, this will help them feel a little more normal in the days to come.
I think I went the right way. Here we go. I honestly feel like if they took and delayed the game for about another 6 months, they would be better off because they could fix a lot of these issues and not just push this out to release it and then expect us as players to have to deal with it. And that's one of the biggest things that I fear, is they're not going to take enough time and they're going to throw it out to the general
Exiting
public
safe area.
within the next month, and a lot of this shit's still going to be
Detected.
present.
The control point in proximity.
So one thing that I've noticed just in this last 10-15 minutes is that in the Division 1, I was able to run pretty freely, even through a lot of the high-level areas, to open up different settlements, different bases, different camps. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I'm able to do that very well. You get mowed down pretty quick. One of the things that I did read, and I don't know that I necessarily agree, is that there isn't enough contrast in the world. So the Division, there was a lot of... It was very dark and gloomy. See, like... Hold on. You can see, like, these people right here,
Glad to have you on our
they're
side.
returning with food. I get it, you know, different game. It's just that with the Division 1, those
Electronic
people were
device
just people
detected.
wandering around trying to survive.
Hostile control
You do
point
have
detected.
electronic devices in the game. You do... I think those are in the first game. See, what is he stomping on? Is he stomping on a person? I assume he's stomping on a person, but you can't see them because they're not there. Just another bug in the game. And I'm not trying to tear the Division down. I mean, I was really excited to play this. I had a lot of high expectations for the game too, because I felt like they've had plenty of time to work on this. They knew exactly what they needed to do based on the issues that they encountered with the first game. And here we are, number 2's out, and
Hostile
a
control
lot of
point
similar
nearby.
issues. So I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but if you got issues in the first game and you have the same damn issues in the second game, you really need to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out why the fuck you have those issues, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It's like sometimes, like right here, something's off. See? Boom. You'll find little glitches like that in the game to where walls are
Nearby echo
not
detected.
there. They've just completely disappeared. There are echoes in the game. You'll come across these. So same as the first game. See right there? No sound once again. Delayed sound. I mean, that's probably some of the worst I've seen. If I can just make it over to the dark zone. And these motherfuckers will follow you too. They will continue to follow you, as you can tell. But that's the thing, there's just... She says the same shit almost over and over and over. It's like she just recycles through her few lines and that's it. I wish they would have added more to that. I cannot believe the amount of... You guys are really getting to experience... Can I get through here? Guess not. Whoa!
Motherfucker! They are fine!
Can't engage target. Moving to better position.
Move!
Like total fucking chaos over here.
I'll hunt them down.
So can we get outside? I got a gas can there if they shoot that. Hold on, where the hell am I at?
This is an emergency.
So we need to...
There's been an explosion.
Fuck you, division!
Grenade deployed.
So it looks like this is the dark zone.
Can't
It's
see
just
the
a matter
target.
of how the
Changing
fuck
position.
do I get
We've
in
got
here?
hostiles on our flank.
Of course, this deer's just standing here. How you doing, buddy? Poor deer.
Look in every corner.
I mean, this... Very weird that I can't get through that door. What happens if I shoot a can? Nothing.
No doubt about it. They're gone.
So overall, I feel like at this point, if they fix the issues that I mentioned, I really think that the game will be better perceived. And it's not that it's a bad game, and I'm not saying that. I'm just, overall, I feel like they have just too many issues. I guess I just need to go around. That was weird. Kind of thought I was blocked off there. So he's guarding, but he's guarding the opposite way. He's kind of looking over there. So like this right here, this is really pretty. So ultimately, the main thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go... I can't get outside that area. I'm going to play the Dark Zone, get a feel for that, make that down. I'm going to play the end game. And then take a look at that to see how that is. There's just a lot of shit over here just to try to get over to the Dark Zone. I like the steam coming up out of the vents. Again, there's a lot of little attention to detail, which really surprises me.
You'll need to get in, map
while
the
we're
site,
seeing
reactivate the security protocols at the control room, and collect
issues.
whatever you can while you're there. But first, you need to reach the gate.
Yeah, I see that.
Gonna get you! Where's my dad back now? Nowhere to run! I'm gonna hunt you down! Nowhere to run! Nowhere to run!
I have no
Stand there and
shot.
take it! I'm on
See, you can even hear the turret at this point.
KIA.
Which is so sad. Because, like, guns are some of the most important aspects, the sounds in the game.
Hostiles on target. Moving.
Grenades. Those are all so important.
I see you, Agent.
And I'm not
Shit,
saying the
I'm
game
out.
isn't
I've got
playable.
your
This is
back.
just some of the worst that I've seen so far.
Friendly soldiers down and out.
But oftentimes I feel like a lot of this stuff, that
I need to
we
fucking
experience in the
reload.
games, it has a tendency to fall on deaf
Die,
ears. And
division
I mean, it
asshole.
really shouldn't, because these are things that need to be addressed.
It would seem that you are not the only one interested in what lies beyond those walls. Go open the gate.
Okay, so how do we open thy gate? Looks like there's a control panel. Open gate. Part of the experience with the Dark Zone
There is an
and the
inactive
Division
checkpoint beyond the main gate. You'll need to go through the checkpoint to reach the contaminated site.
was the eeriness that you felt when you entered in. You really felt this doom and gloom. You really felt like, wow, I could easily die here. But entering this, it looks like I'm playing The Last of Us or something, It's kind of like all cool and pretty and lush, and I'm sure it's far from that. I mean, it is neat looking, but it's so different. One of the aspects that I do enjoy about the Division is the looting. I love to loot, and there's plenty of that. That is a positive. At a level 7. Equip that.
Once you're inside,
let's see
you'll need to
here.
create a map of DZ East.
So this is pretty similar. Like you'd have vendors that were set up in the division.
Area scan location identified.
Move to the location and perform a scan. You're really lucky to have Isaac at your disposal. I used to live by Capitol Station. When the crisis hit, I volunteered to help set up the quarantine. The team primarily consisted of first responders. Everyone just wanted to help out. We were guarding the supply depot. Countless vaults concealed the contaminated dead, and the containers filled with DC-62. I was lucky. I can't say the same for most of my friends.
I do like the look. I do like the glare. And I'm kind of curious what the dark zone's going to look like at nighttime. This looks like a pretty big
Initiate
battleground
area scan.
area.
Map updated. Supplies detected nearby.
You're headed to the military camp. Word of warning. You might...
This is an emergency. There's been an
So these are doors, obviously. Said supplies nearby. The thing is I don't see supplies anywhere.
Can't let him by.
Fuck your flag!
They will be punished.
Justice is served!
I'll keep it safe. Feel that, Agent?
These must have been the supplies that they were talking about.
Area scan location identified.
You'll need to leave with a complete
Identified.
map of the site. Go there and perform a scan.
Music's good. I remember when playing The Division, the tunnels. The tunnels were some of the most eeriest places. I think the best way I can describe it that I'm thinking about it is it's almost too pretty. The Division 2 is just almost way too pretty. When we played the Division 1, it's very gritty. It's almost like going back and
Initiate
playing
area
Gears
scan.
of War.
The Echo seems to be located by the body storage vault.
Not really understanding why we have to reach a certain point and do this scan thing. To me, that's a little strange.
What the fuck happened?
There was an explosion.
Can you walk? Put your arm around me.
What are you doing? We gotta get out of here.
She needs help.
That yellow shit is blowing all over the place. You wanna be
We
next?
can't just leave her.
We have to go. Come on!
Everyone out of my way! See how you like this? You're not getting away with that! You can't win!
Stop that and fight me.
Hopefully I get some good loot for this. Of course, it's not like you get to keep any of it.
Just need to hold it a little longer. Get up there, baby.
Come on.
Might as well give up.
Dude, bullet sponge.
Once the accident happened, there was no time to investigate the cause of the explosion. Sorry.
I didn't get
We're
any
getting
drop
off mission.
for it.
Head to the safe room. The main controls for the security system are in this building. Before the last volunteers left, they shut down the security system to try and seal the site. Once you've accessed this control room, you'll need to find the main control panel and switch the system back on.
So it looks like we're going inside of a building. So there's plenty to do, obviously, in the beta. If you had the chance to play the beta, you had access to that. It was fun. There was plenty to do, as long as you didn't encounter the issues that I mentioned previously. So this is interesting. Normalization. So we start a generator. Of course, that's probably going to attract noise. Can we not hop over the wall? Wow.
Systems online. Rebooting security protocols. Turrets offline. Manual override required.
Okay.
Good. The DZE security systems have been reactivated, but you will need to bring the turrets back online at the checkpoint.
So it's telling me we need to go over here. Okay. In and out, in and out.
Contaminated gear detected.
A significant amount of advanced and powerful weapons were also left behind as a result of the evacuation. The military wanted to make sure that their supplies were well protected. These weapons have now become available to anyone who dares to enter the Dark Zone.
So far, just through my play of the Dark Zone, I just feel like it's an extension of the city, to whereas with the Division, the Dark Zone, and that game, I felt like it was more like a quarantine zone if you've ever played like Dead Island or Dying Light, in the sense to where you're not supposed to be there. You don't want to be there, and it's a lot more fucking dangerous. And I'm not saying that this isn't dangerous, but it just, the environment is really fucking pretty. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't know that when I think of the Dark Zone that I think of a pretty environment. I think I would have much rather have seen this area be a vast wasteland of shit with burning cars and people, you know, hung up on trees and burning and shit like that. I think that would have given a much more a sense of dread of, you know, should I really come to this place? Do I really want to be here? I don't know. I just don't know. So investigate contaminated gear. I mean, obviously this is a whole tutorial aspect of the game, so you can land that turret probably on top right there. Yep. Like right there, my controller is vibrating. It's like the gun is stuck. Yeah. That thing wasn't even firing. Man. What a disappointment. Okay.
Any contaminated gear you collect from the Dark Zone will need to be helo-extracted and go through decontamination.
Extracted, yep.
Get to an extraction point,
which is always
and shoot
fun.
Your flare to request a helo to collect your gear.
Extraction point identified.
Yeah, I appreciate the tutorial aspect that if you don't understand how the Dark Zone works.
Once you've fired a flare to request an extraction, wait for the helo to arrive. Once it does, secure whatever you need to be extracted onto the cable. Just remember,
of course,
unless your gear is airborne, someone else can claim it. Don't trust anyone.
Helo inbound.
Extraction.
That was always one of the fun things about the extraction zone. So, and a lot of times the choppers would take forever.
Extraction helo.
In this case,
almost
it's
within range.
very quick. Probably for the beta, because I remember there were minutes that would go by before a chopper would arrive in the extraction zone.
Helo's ready for pickup.
Helo arrived.
Pickup begun. 15 seconds and we're outbound. Finishing extraction.
Look out. Multiple hostiles seem to have been alerted by the extraction flare. They are entering DZ East now through the main
See, that's a
gate.
little different.
Like moths to a flame. We're done here.
A lot of times they would be attracted.
Hilo
They
is
would
returning to
be
base.
they'd be on their way just due to the fact of the helicopter coming in and it taking so long. So you would have to defend a lot longer before the helicopter got there, just with regular NPC enemies, and on top of that, other players in the game. And then when your ship was being extracted, the same thing would happen. So again, maybe they made it easier for the beta. I don't know, but that just a lot different.
Smile, you division fuck!
This asshole's mine! Shit! Mag's empty!
I can cover you!
Get out of here!
See right there, the delay and the sound of the grenade is just not really good. Sure. I was like, I don't know where they went to. He's
Get
flanking
those
me.
turrets back online and take out any hostiles while you're at it.
You're even alive!
Gotta take mine, but...
Watch it go! I love it, that agent!
Madonna remembers it. Fuck yeah!
I'm sure an elite will show up at some point.
I'm a fucking beast, you
Game froze. Game completely froze. That's so disappointing. And there you go. That pretty much sums up my experience with the Division 2 private beta. So you be your own judge. Take what I've shown you from the game, take what I've talked about, figure out if this is something you want to buy. Peace out.